Hi, I'm here to talk about the new Castlevania Netflix series, Castlevania Nocturne. If you are wondering if you should watch this, no, you shouldn't. You should avoid this. If you are a fan of Castlevania and you're like me and you mainly played the IGA titles and some of the 16-bit stuff, I guess is what I would call it. If you're not like from back in the NES days, mainly, and played a lot of the newer titles that IGA made, and like Rondo of Blood, Symphony of the Night, the DS games, the GBA titles. You're not gonna like this. This has nothing to do with Rondo of Blood. This has nothing to do with Symphony of the Night. In fact, I'll be honest. If you've seen Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City, yeah, this was a lot like that, and that is a awful warning sign. Sorry if I don't seem super enthused right now. I'm going to be honest. I watched the first episode last night, and I made it about 15 minutes in. I didn't even know it was out yet, and I shut it off. This is so stupid. I don't know why they even did this. Now, I like the original Castlevania Netflix series. I think it's fine. I think there they are adapting NES characters that don't really have tons of personality to them. Not a whole lot of pre-established stuff. I thought it was okay. I thought they could have done it better. I still don't like the fact that Grant Dynasty's not in it for seemingly no reason. I don't even hate the Alucard like bisexuality thing because I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it fit for that interpretation of the character. But I recognize that parts of it were not very true to the series and felt a little bit virtue signally. But I let it go because, again, they're adapting NES games that don't have like a ton of pre-established stuff going on. So around the time of Rondo of Blood, which didn't come out in the US, around the time of Rondo of Blood, they started to take this series more seriously. And I'm not saying they didn't before, but this was when they like really had kind of honed in on things. And that bled into Symphony of the Night, which a lot of people consider to be the best Castlevania game. I don't. I think it's really good. I think the best Castlevania for me personally is Order of Ecclesia. But Symphony of the Night is no slouch. It's a great piece of art. It's a great Castlevania game. It has good story, good characters, good lore to it. It feels like a very good and faithful adaptation of like maybe adaptation's not the word, but it feels like what it's supposed to feel like. It nails what it's going for. I think Rondo of Blood does that as well. But they have like established events and settings and characters in those games. Rondo of Blood specifically, because that's what I'm about to talk about. This new Netflix series feels like it pisses in the face of anybody that cared about those things. So people like me that are legit fans of the series. I mean, when I was in high school, I was so obsessed with this series. I used to spend hours upon hours just reading Castlevania wiki articles because I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could. And like it's been years, I don't remember everything super clearly, but I know that this is not Castlevania. This has basically nothing to do with Rondo of Blood. Like I said, this feels more like Welcome to Raccoon City, where they took ideas and events from two different games and then they just like plucked little tidbits out and rearranged them. And then put in a bunch of fan fiction bullshit that has nothing to do with anything. Um, for starters, I'll say why I shut this off 15 minutes in. I shut this off when they revealed that Marie Antoinette was a vampire, and all of the French royalty around the time of the French Revolution in the Palace of Versailles, they're all vampires. Now, I don't think that's a terrible idea. There has been Castlevania games where they talked about wars. specifically Portrait of Ruin. I think that game takes place after either. I think it's World War One. That game takes place after. But like war and things like that are typically a sign of Dracula returning. They've established that within the series. So having something centering on the French Revolution is not a terrible idea. However, that has nothing to do with Rondo of Blood. Rondo of Blood takes place in Wallachia, which is, I don't even think that's on the same continent. Forgive me, I'm American, I don't know. But that's not Castlevania. That's not Rondo of Blood. That is not. Why did you call it this and use these pre established characters if you're just going to do your own thing? I like the original Netflix series. I don't hate it like a lot of people do. Why didn't you just make your own thing and gave it like the Castlevania? I don't even hate stuff like that. I don't hate Lords of Shadows. I don't. I think that trilogy is like overhated. I think Mirror of Fate, there's a sequence in that game that shows why Mercury Steam makes Metroid games now. Like, I don't think those games are bad at all, but people dislike them because they have nothing to do with the core series. If you already have something that has tried that, and even though it was basically doing it entirely its own thing, and that still got hate, why the hell would you do whatever the hell this is trying to be? That seems like a step further to like, sorry, it seems like a step back to just like shit on all the fans. I dropped this 15 minutes in when I saw that Marie Antoinette was a vampire, and it takes place during the French Revolution. And this is after we had some scenes of Maria acting completely out of character and virtue signaling for left wing politics a lot, which is kind of funny because I'm left leaning. Like, I live in California, and I don't need a cartoon to tell me shit that I already kind of believe, anyways. I don't need to have my beliefs parroted at me like I'm a dumb fucking child. I don't know why they even did that. It's a dumb change. It has nothing to do with her character. I don't know why. I saw a couple of things before I dropped this, okay? I saw that the Castlevania Netflix account for this show was sharing some really, really stupid screen grabs and being like, oh, well, nyeh, 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 and just rage baiting people. And I was like, okay, that's taken out of context. Let's see it. I actually saw the context for one of them, and it was just kind of like, I don't even think it was that bad, but like, it doesn't fit the character. Come on, I'm not going to get into like the whole like historical revisionism, like there was no black people in France stuff, because I didn't get that far, and honestly, I don't fucking care. Um, I don't think I forget that character's name, but it's Richter's girlfriend in the games. I don't really think she had much of a character to begin with. So again, it's one of those things where like I'm kind of okay with them expanding upon it. Um, that is a whole other argument that I don't want to get into. But like, I feel like with the direction this went with all the French Revolution stuff, probably would have hated that too. So there's my take on that, but I'm not really going to get into it because I didn't get that far. And honestly, I don't care too much. But like, this has nothing to do with Castlevania. This has nothing to do with Rondo of Blood. I've seen criticisms of the first series saying that yeah, the first season is good, and then after that they just go off the rails into like fan fiction land. And they're totally right. I didn't hate that though. I thought it was okay. I thought expanding upon what they had was fine. I thought adapting NES characters that didn't really have a lot of pre-established stuff was fine. But now you're into games that actually have done that, and you're disrespecting them. And I think that's where my issue comes from. Just, and again, like the political stuff that doesn't even need to be in the show, that has nothing to do with anything, that feels forced, that has characters that you have reconfigured to be completely. The word is not flanderized, but you know what I mean. They're not acting like themselves. I mean, I shut this off for a reason. if you were hoping that we were going to get some kind of adaptation of like hey, let's say maybe you really like the intro to Rondo of Blood, the one that's got the guy speaking in the other language. I think it's German, but that's probably not right. Um, let's say you really like that. You like the art, the animation. That's what I was hoping for. I was hoping we get something like that. No, in fact, speaking of the animation, I actually think it's a step down from the original Castlevania Netflix series. I think it looks worse. I don't know if that's just because time has passed, but as someone that watched all 4 seasons of that, there's something wrong with this one visually. Sorry if I seem a little weird in this video. I was actually excited for this, and I typically skip spoilers, so I had no idea what I was in for. I didn't even know it was out. I didn't know until I saw the people sharing screen caps from the Netflix account, and then I went and watched it, and then I was like, "Oh my god, this is awful," and I shut it off. If you like Castlevania, don't waste your time with this. If you want something that's truer to Castlevania, go play Bloodstained. Or this one might be a bit of a hot take. If you want something that feels like more of a spiritual successor to like Order of Ecclesia, go play Time Spinner. People might not like that recommendation because that does have a small amount of virtue signaling type stuff in it. It has a plot point where like there's a rich guy and he's kind of a jackass because rich evil, which is stupid. But the game is excellent outside of that. I just think it's kind of short, so that's another one to go look at. But don't waste your time with this. I know this video has been a mess, but I don't. I thought about making a proper video on this, but I don't think this is worth the F.